Hey, I'm Teja Gerken with Peghead Nation, and today I'm here with a very special one-of-a-kind guitar from the Bourgeois Guitar workshop. This is the second of two Masterpiece guitars that were shown at the NAMM show earlier this year. And you may have seen my demo of the parlor-size Masterpiece guitar a little while ago, in which case you know a little bit about the background. Essentially, what this project is that Dana Bourgeois had the idea that Bourgeois Guitars master luthier James Witkus should be building a master instrument, kind of in the tradition that European instrument builders would have to complete a master instrument before they were able to either go off on their own or lead the shop. In the case of James Witkus, he's been with Bourgeois for more than 15 years. He, according to Dana, can do every step of the way of building a Bourgeois guitar. And so the idea was to kind of give him free rein and build a guitar just according to his ideas. James suggested he builds two guitars, one that is more traditional, and that is, of course, the parlor guitar that we've already shown you, and the second being a very modern guitar that sort of breaks the mold for what Bourgeois is best known for, and that is the guitar that I have here. It's an SJC, small jumbo cutaway guitar with some pretty spectacular features, built with some really gorgeous woods, and that really introduces a lot of new ideas to the Bourgeois table. So Bourgeois Guitars has, of course, made its name for building instruments that are inspired by classic American flat tops. Many of them look like standard dreadnoughts, standard OMs, slope shoulder dreadnoughts, but of course they've always had some very innovative things going on under the hood, so to speak, that you might not see. But on the outward appearance, you could have been mistaken to be looking at a vintage guitar in many ways. This guitar is, of course, completely different. And there have been some attempts in this before. Bourgeois has done a line of guitars called the Odyssey that also is very modern, different sound hole shapes and some unusual materials and appointments. But this really takes it to a new level. Really the only thing that is sort of out of the Bourgeois catalog is the body shape itself. Bourgeois does offer a small jumbo. This is the first time it's combined with a 12-fret neck, which of course also moves the bridge back into the sort of most active part of the lower bout. You can tell that the guitar has a multiscale fingerboard, sometimes known as fanned frets. Not super radical on this particular guitar. We're combining basically the two scale lengths that Bourgeois tends to use, which is a 25.5 on the bottom of the multiscale, which is Bourgeois' long scale. On the treble side, it's a 25-inch scale, which Bourgeois uses for their short scale guitars. So not as radical a fan as you might see on some fan fret guitars, but you still get the advantage of a little bit more tension on the bass strings while keeping the sweetness of a short scale on the top strings. So in terms of radical things on this guitar, that is probably the number one thing, and it feels great because the fan isn't quite so drastic. It really doesn't take any getting used to, and I think it's a beautiful thing to see on a guitar that is conceived as a very modern instrument. The materials used, we have a Sinker redwood top, really gorgeous Sinker redwood. You can see some of the color changing where it gets a little darker in here, and that is because the minerals in the wood sort of change through the process of having been submerged when the logs are submerged at the bottom of some rivers. Up here in Northern California for the most part. And that crystallization, of course, also creates tops that are very stiff and very lightweight and just have a very unique sonic quality that a lot of people really like as a great guitar top. And this is a beautiful example of that. The back and sides of this guitar are figured ebony, and this is really some of the most spectacular figured ebony that I have ever come across. Just really gorgeous coloring, really gorgeous figure, and just worthy of this kind of a one-off instrument. The back is essentially a two-piece back, but there's a wedge in there, and within that wedge we see some further inlaid woods, and it's a very distinctive design. I, again, haven't seen anything like this on other guitars, and I think it's a very cool idea to kind of expand the different woods that are used on an instrument in a very cool design kind of a fashion. We're dealing with a lot of figured wood on this guitar. The neck is some gorgeous figured mahogany. It has such amazing sort of fiddleback flame that for a moment, when I first unpacked the guitar, I thought maybe this was a stained maple, but it is indeed mahogany. There's no abalone or pearl in this guitar. They used some gorgeous burl wood for the rosette, and there's also pieces of the same burl used for the purfling of the guitar that goes all around. For the position markers, both on in the face of the fingerboard as well as the side, as well as in the bridge, around the bridge pins, we have brass inlay, really quite gorgeous and very effective, and looks gorgeous with these Evo frets, which of course also have more of a golden appearance than standard frets. The guitar has an armrest bevel, makes it super comfortable to play, and just all the craftsmanship and fit and finish is very much superb. It is, of course, true for basically all Bourgeois guitars, but this really is a master project. This is James Witkus kind of strutting his stuff and showing us what he can do. And yeah, I think it's clear that he passed the test with this instrument. Some other design elements, of course, include the cutaway that I already mentioned, and I think this is pretty much the standard Bourgeois shape on the cutaway. Looks very nice on the small jumbo. The guitar has what we've seen on other Bourgeois guitars in terms of the peghead shape. Bourgeois uses several different shapes, but this is sort of their most original one. But it's been adapted for this multiscale, and I think that's a very cool way to take an existing design and adapt it for this fan fret fingerboard here. The tuners on the guitar are K-tar tuners. They're made in Italy, and I've only seen them on a couple instruments. Super precise, very nice feeling, and kind of a perfect match for this instrument because they're open back tuners, so they have that kind of vintage vibe in that way, but in a very modern design. So much that is really also the case with this guitar overall is kind of represented by these tuning machines that I think are both functional and offer just a great look for this particular guitar. Inside, the guitar features an X-braced back, and that is really to create a very active back on this instrument. Of course, the top is also X-braced. Everything is adjusted for this multiscale and this particular 12-fret mini jumbo configuration, and I have to say the results are really quite spectacular. Playing some more modern fingerstyle like what I was doing in the intro to this. I'm in a low C tuning. It's just super fun. The guitar is very easy to play. Super responsive, which is what I would expect from a redwood top, which is a little bit like a cedar top in that it offers a super quick response. A lot of times it's what you think of the qualities of cedar being sort of multiplied in a redwood top. And just sounds really lovely, very responsive. I'm playing with a soft touch, but also if I'm digging in, very nice. The setup on this is really, it's kind of a low action setup, very easy to play. And for someone like myself who's essentially used to a long scale guitar, which this is on the bass side of this fingerboard, the guitar is actually a little bit easier to play than what I would expect, because we do get the advantage of the shorter scale on the top strings, which means stretches are a little bit easier, while still having the advantage of the long scale on the bottom, which, especially if you tune down, like in this case I'm down to a low C, is definitely preferable to having the short scale on the bottom as well. So there's no question that these masterpiece guitars, both this guitar and the Parlor that we saw, are just really stunning instruments that kind of break the bounds of what we know of with Bourgeois guitars a little bit. And particularly with this guitar, it's really fun to kind of see them introducing some of these very modern elements. And of course, the more you look, the more you kind of find beautiful back plate on the peghead here, incredibly well fitted with the slight volute on the back here. Beautiful end graft here that sort of matches the center strip on the back, and just everything is done so well, perfectly inlaid inside, binding almost like purfling in the fingerboard here. I think it's a great example of building a guitar that doesn't have a lot of pearl or abalone and yet offers a very distinguished and almost flashy appearance just by the woods that I used alone. So you heard me play the guitar in a tuning with a low C string earlier, playing a tune of mine called Vicky's Red Boots, that I think is a good match in terms of being a modern fingerstyle guitar piece for playing on this guitar. But of course, many of you play in standard tuning, and I'll play a little bit of the Eric Satie Gymnopédie number 1, which is a great piece that is played with a soft touch and really sort of allows this guitar to bloom, because it sounds so nice with a soft touch, gets a great tonal complexity that way. So I'll go out playing some of that. If you are seeing this on YouTube, we'd love for you to come over to pegheadnation.com, not just for our many gear demos, but of course our wide range of courses and lessons, not just for guitars, but many other stringed and fretted instruments. So my name is Teja Gerken, and I leave you with the Eric Satie Gymnopédie.